Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Mohan, can you light some candles for the deity? Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Whoop. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare की जय, श्री कृष्णदेव की जय, श्री श्री राधा दामोदर की जय, श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय, श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय, श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की जय, गिरिराज महाराज की जय, the appearance of Radha Kund की जय, Virabhadra Gosai की जय, Go Premanandi, all glorious Sri Vrindavan Dham ki, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru and Grand Guru Sri Prabhupada. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Ti Namane, Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Vicharine, Nirvase Shishanyavari Pastichari Shatani Om Jnana Timarandasya, Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Shvayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Svabhadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This evening we're going to hear something about Virabhadra, Virachandra. Is my computer here, Mukunda?
Computer.
I need it. Thanks, Phil. Thank you. So we're going to read something about Virachandra or Virabhadra. Different names for the same person. Today is the appearance day of Virabhadra. He appeared on the 9th day of the dark fortnight of the month of Kartik. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has given this description of him in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Does anyone need some water? You need some water, ladies? Need some water? You sure? After Nityananda Prabhu, the greatest branch is Virabhadra Goswami, who also has innumerable branches and sub-branches. It is not possible to describe them all, although Virabhadra Goswami was the supreme personality of Godhead. He presented himself as a great devotee, and although the supreme Godhead is transcendental to all Vedic injunctions, he strictly followed the Vedic rituals. He is the main pillar in the hall of devotional service erected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He knew within himself that he acted as the Supreme Lord Vishnu inside, within himself. But externally he was prideless. It is by the mercy of Sri Virabhadra Goswami that people all over the world now had the chance to chant the names of Chaitanya and Nityananda. I therefore take shelter of the lotus feet of Virabhadra Goswami, so that by his mercy my great desire to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita will be properly guided. Sri Virabhadra Goswami is the son of... Who remembers? Son of who in Chaitanya Leela? Pardon? Who?
Nityananda.
Yes, he's the son of Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Nityananda, and the disciple of... It's interesting. He's the son of Nityananda, but the disciple of... This goes against some of our understanding of some GBC or whatever, but he's the disciple of his mother, whose name was Haribol. Hare Krishna. So it's kind of, his mom was his guru. Usually we hear you don't initiate your son, but that's never been applied to a lady, so maybe it doesn't apply. It applies to the father, but not necessarily the mother. His mother is... Oh, wait a minute. We're off the hook here. My mistake. We were wrong. His mother is Srimati Vasudha Devi. Nityananda had two wives, Janava and Vasudha. They were sisters, but he had two wives. So Virabhadra is a son, although he was looked after by Janava, he was a son of Vasudha. He was a son of Vasudha Devi. Disciple of Janava. So he's the son of Nityananda and Vasudha, and the disciple of Janava. Nice. And they've got their expansions of the consorts of Lord Balaram. Hare Krishna. Who were Lord Balaram's wives? Pardon? Revati and? Varuni. And the Varuni pastime, the Varuni beverage, personified. She became his wife. So they expand into Chaitanya Leela. In the Gorganadesh Deepika, it is described that Sri Virachandra Prabhu is an incarnation of Shirodakshayi Vishnu, one of the expansions of Sri Shankarshan. He is thus not different from Lord Chaitanya himself. Simultaneously one different, same Supreme Lord, just manifesting different aspects. Once upon a time, Ishwari, another name of Janava Mata, went to the house of one Jadunandana Acharya of Jamatpur, near Rajpal, and by her mercy he became a devotee. Jadunanda's wife was extremely devoted to her husband and his two daughters, Srimati and Narayani, possessed bodily forms which excelled the limits of mortal beauty. By the desire of Ishwari, the very perfect Brahmin gave these two daughters in marriage to Prabhu Virachandra. Sri Yadunandana Acharya became the disciple of Sri Virachandra Prabhu, and Srimati and Sri Narayani were given initiation in mantra by Sri Janava Mata. Interesting. Virachandra Prabhu had a sister, Srimati Ganga Devi, who was none other than the mother Ganges herself. Her husband, Madhavacharya, was an incarnation of Raja Shantanu. You know, the pastimes from the Mahabharata. Isn't it Shantanu who wanted to have Mother Ganga? Yeah. But she insisted that her son had to be the next king. Srinivas, where are we? Taking permission from his mother, Virachandra Prabhu set out on a pilgrimage to Vrindavan. First he came to Saptagram and proceeded to the house of Sri Udarandat Thakur, where he was met by Udarandat's son, Srinivas Dutt. Srinivas greeted him with respect and showed him all hospitality for the 2 days that he stayed there. From there he went to Shantipur, where he was led to Advaita Bhavan in a kirtan procession by Advaitacharya's son, Sri Krishna Mishra. Next he crossed the Ganges river and came to Gauridas Pandit's house in Ambika Kaun. Sri Hridaya Chaitanya Prabhu respectfully greeted him and honoured him as his guest. From here he came to Navadvip, to the house of Jagannath Mishra. When the family members and associates of Mahaprabhu learned that he was the son of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, they were highly pleased and showed him all courtesies. Where Acharya Prabhu received his exalted guest by offering him the appropriate worship. A few days passed in the ecstasy of Sankirtan, and then Virachandra Prabhu came to Kantak, Nagan, Katwa. He remained there for one day and then proceeded to Budarigram. There he was received by Sri Govinda Kaviraj, who worshipped his lotus feet and offered him all hospitality. Sri Virachandra Prabhu was very pleased at his devotion and remained there for a couple of days. Thereafter he made his auspicious arrival in Kaituri. He's going round in a circle. Kaituri is back in Bangladesh. As soon as he received news of his arrival, Sri Narottam Das Thakur came out in great ecstasy to meet Sri Virachandra Prabhu. He led him into the courtyard of the temple of Sri Gauranga, where Sankirtan accompanied with ecstatic dancing commenced. A steady crowd of people thronged to get a glimpse of Prabhu Virachandra. After spending a few days in Keturi, in ecstatic Sankirtan, Virachandra Prabhu set off for Sri Vrindavan Dham. Along the way, many sinful and atheistic people were delivered by his influence. As news of his arrival reached Vrindavan, the Goswamis, namely Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Anantacharya, Sri Haridas Pandit, Sri Krishnadas Brahmachari, Sri Madhu Gopal Pujari, a disciple of Sri Gadadhar Pandit, Sri Madhu Pandit, Pujari of Gopinath, Sri Bhavananda, Sri Kashishvar, as well as his disciple Sri Govinda Goswami, and Sri Yadavacharya were all informed. Because he was, of course, next generation, so most of the Goswamis had already left. It looks like only Jiva Goswami amongst the 6 Goswamis was still on the planet at that time. The Goswamis, accompanied by many residents of Sri Vrindavan Dham, all came out to meet Prabhu Virachandra. Everyone was overwhelmed by his appearance in ecstatic love, and they were all humming like bumblebees in discussing his good qualities. Prabhu Virachandra, in the company of these exalted souls, took darshan of Sri Madan Mohan, Sri Govindaji, Sri Gopinath, the principal deities of Vrindavan. After receiving the consent of Sri Jiva Goswami and Sri Bhugarbha Goswami, Prabhu Virachandra set out to wander in the 12 forests of Brajamandal, becoming completely overwhelmed by seeing the various places of Krishna's pastimes, like Sri Radhakund, Sri Shamakund, and Giri Govardhan. His display of ecstatic symptoms captivated the Brijbasis. After seeing the sights of Sri Brajadam, Virachandra Prabhu returned to Gaudadesh. All of the divine qualities of his father, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, were fully present in him. Those who were fortunate enough to witness his ecstatic love praised his glories far and wide. Gopijana Ballabha, Ram Krishna and Ram Chandra, who are thought by some to be sons of Virabhadra Gosai, were actually his disciples. The youngest, Ramakrishna, who resided at Kadahar, belonged to the Sandilya Gotra, and was a member of the Bhattabyal Brahmin community, known for their great accomplishment in studying the Vedas. The oldest, Gopijana Ballabha, lived in Latagram, near Manakar, in the district of Bardhaman. The middle one, Ramchandra, lived at Ganeshpur, near Melda. Because their gotras and surnames, titles were different, and because they lived in different places, it is concluded they were not actually Virachandra Prabhu's sons. His birthplace is at Kardaha, which now is a rail station on the Shiura-Krishnagara line. The village where Nityananda Prabhu made his advent in this world, Ekachakra, is also named Virachandrapur. Here the deity of Sri Bankim Rai was worshipped by Virachandra Prabhu. That's what it said, Prabhupada translation commentary in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, Virachandra Prabhu ki jai. That's very nice. And now, something interesting. Today is the appearance day of Radhakund. Did any of you go last night to Radhakund?
Morning, afternoon.
Afternoon you went. Oh, very nice. Oh, very good. So you went, did you take a bath? You just took respect for Radhakund. Because usually on Bahulashtami is a day when devotees, if they do take bath, they may take bath on that day. Of course, this is a discussion point in our society as to whether you can or can't, and whether you, not just because of, well, I'm not supposed to do it, or yes, we can do it. Whether we actually can do it is another thing. It's one thing to take a bath, it's another thing to bathe in Radhakund. So we're just going to mention a few things, interesting topic. Question: why is Radhakund as dear to Krishna as Sri Radha herself? Sri Prabhupada tells us that Radhakund is described by great sages as a lake that is as dear to Krishna as Radha herself. You find in the Nectar of Instruction some description by Sri Prabhupada there. Why is that? Let's hear a little of what the great sages have to say. Okay, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami tells us, "O restless-eyed girl, your lake is the eternal home of you and your beloved. My residence is there. Here I stay. This lake is my eternal home. It is everything for Radha's friends. It is filled with the glory of Radha's love for Krishna. Krishna loves it as much as he loves Radha. I pray that at this lake Lalita's friend, Radha, may eternally enjoy pastimes before my eyes." Raghunath Das Goswami is intimating here that Sri Radhakund is so dear to Krishna because it's filled with the glories of Radha's love for him. The love which makes it so glorious, Radha's love. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives a different perspective. His understanding is that Radhakund is as dear to Krishna as Radha herself because it continually fills Krishna's mind and heart with remembrance of Radha. He says in the Govinda Lila Amrita, Radhakund was as dear to Sri Krishna as Radha herself. Madhava, the full moon of Braj, was conquered by endless qualities of Radhakund as he continuously sported there with Radhika in deep love. Radhakund filled the heart of Krishna, the guru of all gallant men, with joy because its different qualities reminded him of Radhika. However, this increased Krishna's intense feelings of separation from Radha and made him extremely eager to meet her. Krishna felt overwhelmed in separation from Radha. While gazing at the beautiful Radhakund, Krishna saw his sweetheart in the various features of the Kund. The waves in Radhakund were just like the waves of Radhika's sweet affection in Madhura Ras. The lotus flowers resembled Kishori's lovely lotus face. The bees buzzing above the lotuses appeared like Radha's elegant curly locks hanging over her forehead. The darting hummingbirds resembled Radha's restless blue eyes. The sweet chortling of the swans echoed the pleasant jingling of Radha's Hangsaka foot ornaments. Thus, Krishna saw his beloved Radha in her Kund. The unlimited qualities of Radhakund continually filled Krishna's mind and heart with remembrance of Radha's wonderful form, attributes and sweet dealings. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur speaks not only of Radhakund but of Radhakund and Shyamakund. He explains that by approaching these lakes, one directly approaches Radha and Krishna. He says, by seeing these two lakes, Radha and Krishna believe they are present in them. It is as if they directly see each other there. The wise say that by approaching these lakes, one directly approaches Radha and Krishna. Longing to meet, but forced to remain separate, Radha and Krishna assume the forms of Radhakund and Shyamakund. In this way, they become splashed with the nectar of meeting each other. Out of great kindness to the people, so they could directly taste their sweetness, Radha and Krishna become these two lakes. Shining with happiness, the devotees bathe in these two lakes. If Radhakund and Krishna, if Radhakund is Radha, if they are non-different, obviously Radhakund will be as dear to Krishna as Radha. As Prabhupada just said. Krishna's love for Radhakund and Radharani is the same in all respects. Vishwanath Chakravarti continues, I think that when Radha saw Krishna, she melted with ecstasy and thus assumed the liquid state of the waters of Radhakund. And the same way when Krishna saw Radha, he also melted in ecstasy and became the waters of Shyamakund. In this way, these two lakes bear the names and qualities of the divine couple. I think these two lakes are the divine couple's love. They who are fortunate bathe there, because bathing there is like bathing in their transcendental love. These two lakes bear the names of the divine couple. In a conversation here in Vrindavan in 1976, Prabhupada said, there is no difference between Radhakund and Radharani. Radhakund should be respected as Radharani herself. That is Radhakund consciousness, highest Radhakund consciousness. Another question here. So that's why Radhakund is so important. Because it's not different than Radha. Is the Radhakund that Sri Radha Krishna see the same as the one that we see? Is it the same? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur tells us that Sri Radhakund is always invisible to mortal eyes. Always invisible. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, his Govinda Lilamrita, tells us that only those on the threshold of Bhava Bhakti and who have the appropriate Bhava can see Radhakund as it is. Others see it as an ordinary place. So let's do this is a devotee writing this article, they're challenging you, so to speak, do a reality check. So are we on the verge of Bhava Bhakti? That's the question they ask. According to our acharyas, only those on the verge of Bhava Bhakti we're trying to practice. What stage of devotional service are we on? Are we on the edge of Bhava Bhakti? Are we on the edge of, what are we on the edge of? We're on the edge. On the edge of what? Bhajana Kriya maybe? With some sadhu sanghas there, some little shraddhas there. And we're trying to do Bhajana Kriya. And we're probably in the stage of a Nishtita Bhajana Kriya, which is if you divide it into two, there's Nishta Bhajana Kriya and Nishtita Bhajana Kriya. It's an unsteady practice of devotional service, up and down. Not always so steady. But we're trying to come to Nishta Sadhana Kriya, Bhajana Kriya. And that Nishta Bhajana Kriya burns out the anarthas. Otherwise, a Nishtita Bhajana Kriya just kind of removes them on the surface, but it doesn't get much down the roots. Your devotional practice is, in sadhana bhakti, you have to be nishta sadhana bhakti. Bhajana Kriya, they have to be nishta, steady. And if you're very steady, just like Mahamantra, Mataji is very steady in her deity worship. I don't know about everything in her life, but I know she's steady with her deity worship, that's for sure. Steady as a rock. So being steady helps to burn out the root of anartha, not just the surface effect, but the actual cause down deep. That helps to remove the subtle anarthas. So then the anartha nivritti stage begins to kind of like, let's say, we pass through that, through steady, and by mercy, of course. And then one comes to the pure nishta stage. And after nishta, it means steady in every respect. Not just steady in practice, but steady in consciousness. What else? Next. What's next? Pardon?
Asakti.
What was that?
Asakti, attachment.
Artati?
Asakti.
After nishta? After nishta, maybe it's a different word maybe, I didn't quite catch it. After that comes? Pardon? Ruchi. You get a real taste. A real taste. It is related, the taste we get from external practical service. We sometimes say, I'm feeling a real taste in my service, Prabhu. I love my service. Someone said today they love their service. I can't remember who it was. Somebody said they love their service. And it's a taste. But it's not the absolute platform of ruchi, which is, complete taste. It's not like you only have a taste for your service. You're constantly immersed in a taste for Krishna consciousness in every respect. There's no interest in any other taste. And when that ruchi develops, then one comes to the stage of? Pardon? Next stage. What is that next stage? This is the stage just before Bhava Bhakti. Pardon? Just before it. Ashakti. Ashakti means completely attached to Krishna. One becomes completely attached to. There's no interest in, oh, yes, one of this one. One's fixed on Krishna. One hasn't realized one's relationship with Krishna. One hasn't realized Krishna in full. But one is completely attached to Krishna. And by practicing devotional service, chanting and hearing, etc., in that stage, by the mercy of Krishna, it's not something which can be attained merely by practice. By the mercy of Krishna, loving ecstasies may awaken in one's practices. Bhava, which is the threshold of prema. So to be on that stage, at least one would understood Ashakti is like the threshold of Bhava. At least one must be on that platform. That one has no other interest other than Krishna. And so we have to question ourselves. Then there's the characteristics of those who are on the level of Bhava. And these are external characteristics primarily, which are mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. They're primarily external ones, but even that is, it can be imitated, but it's not something that you can be, continued unless one's on that platform. So here are they, simple ones. He is always anxious to utilize his time in the devotional service of the Lord. Does not like to be idle. He wants service always, 24 hours a day without deviation. So this internally, it's understood that the devotees, there are the two wings of devotional service, but those who are on the platform, at least of Goshtyanandi platform, they want to share Krishna consciousness in this world. They are here for a purpose, and generally the Bhajanandis keep it within. They don't generally share it with others. And in other words, he is always reserved and perseverant. He is always detached from all material attraction. He does not long for any material respect in return for his activity. He is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. He is always very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. He is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. He is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He is very pleased to live in a place where the Lord's pastimes are performed, Mathura, Vrindavan, or Dwarka. Srila Prabhupada tells us there are two conceptions of presence: the physical conception and the vibrational conception. The physical conception is temporary, whereas the vibrational conception is eternal. When we enjoy or relish the vibration of Krishna's teachings in Bhagavad Gita, or when we chant Hare Krishna, we should know that by those vibrations he is immediately present. He is absolute, and because of this, his vibration is just as important as his physical presence. When we feel separation from Krishna or the spiritual master, we should just try to remember their words of instructions, and we will no longer feel that separation. Such association with Krishna and the spiritual master should be association by vibration, not physical presence. That is real association. We put so much stress on seeing, but when Krishna was present on the earth, so many people saw him and did not realize that he is God. So what is the advantage of seeing? By seeing Krishna, we will not understand him. But by listening carefully to his teachings, we can come to the platform of understanding. We can touch Krishna immediately by sound vibration. Therefore, we should give more stress to the sound vibration of some elevation to Krishna consciousness. And the physical deception that we see with our mundane eyes is not only temporary, but it will bind us to the temporary. If we become attached to the Radhakund we presently see and build mental samskaras of it, that will bring us back again to this realm. and her form may not even be human. So what does this mean for us, practically speaking? In his purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's explanation of how we progress from Shravanadas, hearing about Krishna and his world, to Sampatidas, the perfection of re-establishing our eternal identity in our loving relationship of service with Krishna. So much depends on the quality of our hearing and our attachment for hearing about Krishna and his world. Shri Radha Kund and the Dham in general is a wonderful source of mercy and stimulus for remembering Shri Radha Kund and their world. But we should be very careful not to develop attachment for how it manifests to our conditioned vision. Best to hear from our acharyas rather than just see. For as Srila Prabhupada tells us, the vibrational conception is eternal and will take us up to the eternal. Well, that's quite a thing to meditate on. Question 3. What does Radha Krishna's Radha Kund look like? What does it look like? If we've just heard, it is not quite what we're seeing in this with our present senses. So what does it look like?
Radha Kund is like the shape of a hoof.
Pardon?
It's the shape of a hoof.
Shape of a hoof? 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 A bull's hoof? A bull's hoof? Was that Radha Kund? Shape of a cow's hoof, huh? Shape of a cow's hoof. Krishna dug a hole in the ground. Yes, but there's more to it than that. We see something. In one sense, of course, we see pictures of Radha Kund, Shama Kund everywhere. So it's hard not to have that kind of vision there. But ultimately, that, what can we say? Maybe you could say it's tip of an iceberg or something. There's far more to it than that. Let's read something. It's extensively described by Krishnadas Kaviraj in Govinda Lilamrita. Here's a description. First of all, of Lalita Nanda Kunj. The huge lightning color Kunj of Lalita Sakhi, located on the north side of Radha Kund, had 8 sub-kunjas resembling an 8-petaled lotus flower. An astonishing courtyard named Ananga Rangambuja, the lotus of loving pastimes, was situated in the middle of all the kunjas. The courtyard was shaped like a 1,000-petaled lotus, whose lovely whirl was a glittering golden platform which could expand or contract depending on the pastime. Just a second. The pleasing opulence of all 6 seasons was always present here to increase the happiness of Radha Madhava. Kalavati, Lalita's disciple, carefully cleaned and maintained the area, the abode of sweet pastimes. Lalitananda Kunj, Kunj which gives bliss to Lalita, was like a splendid royal pavilion for Radha Madhava and their beloved Sakhis. From the air, Lalitananda Kunj appeared like a huge lotus with a nucleus of pure gold, from which expanded filaments made of jewels. Each petal seemed to be made of different colored gemstones. Surrounding the nucleus, the petals were uniform in size and shape, but the number and size of the petals increased with each successive circle. A golden lotus temple, which could satisfy the senses with its cooling radiance, sat in the center of the nucleus. Outside there were 5 successive circles of wonderful platforms. The first circle of platforms was made of gold, the second cat's eye gems, the third blue sapphires, the fourth crystals, and the fifth rubies. The domes above the platforms contained jeweled pictures of mating deer, birds, humans, and demigods to arouse amorous love. Desire trees with green, yellow, white, red and blue leaves and flowers surrounded the golden lotus temple. The branches of the trees met overhead to form natural canopies. The inside dome of the temple was carved in the shape of 1,000-petaled lotus. The jeweled platform under the dome was 2 feet high. In the northeast sector of Litananda Kunj was a sub-kunj named Vasanta Sukata Kunj, which gives joy of the spring. The beautiful bower had 8 sections resembling an 8-petaled lotus flower. Ashoka trees having intertwining branches full of beautiful white, green, blue, yellow and crimson flowers covered the entire area. Buzzing bees and cooing cuckoos surcharged the atmosphere. The Padma Mandir, the lotus temple made of unlimited types of rare gems, stood in the southwest corner of the Litananda Kunj. It had doors and windows on all 4 sides and jewel-studded paintings of Krishna's Rasalila, Purvarag and the Kunjakeli pastimes on its inside walls. Colourful painting of Krishna killing the demons from Putana to Aristasura lined the outside walls. Lalita Sakhi painted and hung the pictures. The jeweled centre of the lotus temple emanated brilliant effulgence. 16 rooms shaped like lotus petals adjoined the centre. These rooms also had 16 sub-chambers. The second floor design was the same. The third floor was a wall-less room, topped by a great jeweled dome supported by coral pillars on crystal bases. Jugs, flags and chakras ornamented the dome. Radha Shyam enjoyed the spectacular panorama of Radhakund from this high open-air room. The ground floor contained many enchanting pictures, finely crafted from precious jewels. Gem-studded staircases connected the rooms and sub-rooms. Trees full of fruits and flowers flanked the stairways. Radha Madhava relished many intimate pastimes in this lotus temple. That was just a small description of one section of Radhakund. So there's a lot to see. What does it mean to bathe in Radhakund? Put your gumcha on, right? Put your fingers on your nose. Pay your obeisances first, right? Maybe you go in head first. And they always go in head first into the holy kunds, not toe first. Point 1. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj Thakur writes that even great sages and great devotees like Narada and Sanak do not get an opportunity to come to Radhakund to take their baths. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? Why is that? It's because their Sthayi Bhav, permanent rasa relationship with Krishna, is not Madhurya Ras in their case. Only those who are in Madhurya Ras can bathe in Radhakund. And as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells us in Srila Prabhupada's purport, Sri Radhakund is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, Sakhis, and confidential serving maids, Manjaras of Srimati Radharani. Another profound point, because this means at least one is on the platform of Raganuga Bhakti. Because there's no question of even conceiving of one's relationship with Krishna unless one has at least come Nishta. And then one has to, from Nishta, it is possible that traces of Raganuga Bhakti start to manifest. So first is beyond the platform of Nishta, freed of all anarthas, even subtle attachments. And then one has to practice, or one has to, let's say, naturally develop Raganuga Bhakti, a natural inclination towards serving Krishna. And in this case, it has to be in Madhurya Ras. It's not not in the mood of the coward boys, Sakya Ras, or Vatsalya Bhav, or Dasya Ras, or whatever it may be. So it kind of limits it, in a sense, to those who can really bathe in Radhakund. This raises an interesting point, that Radhakund is the topmost place, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best place for us. It depends on the nature of our attraction to Sri Krishna. Hold on. It's a what do you got, PDF? It's a little bit jumpy. Srila Prabhupada also tells us in his purport, if by great fortune one gets opportunity to come to Radhakund and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna exactly as the gopis did. So what is this great fortune? It's the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. Their mercy is our great fortune. Their mercy is giving us access to Radhakund and her mercy. This is a very important point to remember. In text 11, Rupa Goswami says, undoubtedly Radhakund is very rarely attained, even by great devotees. Therefore it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. But in 1974, Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanya Avatar, because he's teaching about the love of Radha Krishna and teaching everyone Krishna Prem Pradayate, real destination of life, how to achieve Krishna Prema, and he's personally teaching it. And Krishnadas Kaviraj tells, things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or another simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even as things become even simple things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya, I offer my respectful obeisance. It is so very important to remember that we are mercy cases when we enter this most sacred realm called Radhakund. Our only adhikar for approaching Radhakund is the mercy and potency of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. This should be our conscious and honest mood. In other words, we have no qualification to enter Radhakund. Just the mercy of Prabhupada and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Whatever mercy they bestow upon us. And it's also a good idea whenever we go to holy places on pilgrimage to keep chanting Hare Krishna. Keep chanting, keep chanting, keep chanting. Let's look at the purport. This is Prabhupada's purport. It is stated that a devotee will at once develop pure love of Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes a bath in Radhakund. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radhakund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is a most important item in the execution of devotional service. Obviously we're not talking only of purification here, but more importantly of a transformation of heart. Okay, well, this is Srimati, so she's asking us a question. Have you ever bathed in Radhakund? Anybody? Anyone bathed in Radhakund? Nobody? You bathe, Mahamandra? You bathe? Bathe? Have you very often bathed in Radhakund? Put your hand up. Very often means maybe more than 3 or 4 times, I suppose. No. I bathed, I think, 3 times maybe. Please raise your hand if the result was that your pure love for Krishna was fully aroused. It's supposed to be fully aroused if you actually bathed in Radhakund. However, maybe our attraction has been aroused to some degree. If you haven't gained this result of bathing by taking bath, what does it mean? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had some illuminating insights to share about this. Let's take a look at what he has to say. This is a lecture he gave in Radhakund in October 16th, 1932, a few days ago, so many years ago. And only, he said, only by Sri Radha's mercy can one reside eternally on the banks of Radhakund, the superlative place in the entire creation. Therefore, in his ultimate instruction, Sri Rupa Goswami mentions bathing in Radhakund. On the many objects of favoured delight and of all the lovable damsels of Brajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love, and in every respect his divine kund is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radhakund is very rarely attained even by great devotees. Therefore, we've already heard that, fully aroused if one once takes a bath in Radhakund. Rupa Raghunath Das Goswami writes, My very dear and fragrant Radhakund, which for one who bathes therein, which for one who bathes therein immediately creates in the land of the heart a desired tree of pure love rarely found even among the gopi beloveds of Lord Krishna in Braj. May that be my shelter. As for one who bathes in Radhakund, it's supposed to immediately develops this in the heart, a desire tree of pure love, which is really found even amongst the gopis. Yes, Radhakund is very merciful, but we should be careful. This is Bhaktisiddhanta. I have taken bath in Radhakund. I took a dip in Radhakund. I am a lump of flesh and blood. I am my wife's maintainer. I am a sannyasi, I am a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. Thinking any of these ways disqualifies one to bathe in Radhakund. What to speak of such materialistic conceptions? If we are filled with the attitude of awe and reverence, we also cannot bathe in Radhakund. We have to tread the path of Sri Radha's maidservants without imitating them. Are you ready? By regarding ordinary water as sacred and the gross material body as a self, one can neither see nor bathe in Radhakund. Sri Radhakund is always invisible to mortal eyes, nor can any mortal ever bathe in the same. These are articles by Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. If one's consciousness is covered by upadis, what's an upadi? So what is it? Is it like upma or something? Is it a preparation? What's an upadi?
Facilitating.
Pardon?
Facilitating. Something like facilitating.
Facilitating? I'm just trying to stretch the meaning. Might be, but specifically, we usually hear the term upadi means.
Designation.
Excuse me?
Designation.
Yes, designation. We all have our designations. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm Indian, I'm French, I'm American, I'm English, I'm whatever it is. I'm this, I'm that. And of course we just heard a few others on the path of spiritual life, maybe Brahmin or sannyasi or whatever it is, or I'm married, I'm so-and-so. So if one's conscience is covered by upadis, when he bathes in Radhakund, he might as well bathe in a bag of bones. Whew. Heavy, huh? That's my consciousness. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's statements are not intended to quell our enthusiasm for bathing in Radhakund. He is simply reminding us not to approach Radhakund mindlessly or whimsically. And that was Prabhupada's emphasis in 1976 when the devotees went there. We also went there. We all bathed in Radhakund, and it became like a swimming pool. Literally, playing games, diving in, all sorts of things going on. When Prabhupada heard about it, he was very upset. He said, no more. No more. Although he'd written we should bathe in one sense, although you can see it's not as straightforward as that. After all, these verses in the Nectar of Instruction are some of the final statements of Nectar of Instruction. After one has achieved that previous verses platform of consciousness of the previous verses, conquering one's senses, developing all good qualities, becoming absorbed in tasting the sweet nectar of the holy name, being fully engaged 24 hours in devotional service. In other words, pretty much it means the one who's on the verge of bhava. If one gets through the first 7 verses of Nectar Instruction, it just basically brings us to the point of the verge of bhava. And then, from that point, one goes into deeper and into prema. By the mercy of Radharani, one can attain bhava, or the mercy of Radhakund, one can attain prema rather. Once one's on the verge of bhava, by her mercy, by taking bath in Radhakund, one can come to prema. So at our stage, as it said just now, we're considered like mercy cases. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Radha and her assistant gopis. It's really something for high devotees. Midnight bathing? Nothing is mentioned in the scriptures about midnight bathing. There's no such mention. Sri Radhakund, which is very dear to this is scriptural references from Padma Purana and Hari Bhakti Vilas. Radhakund, which is very dear to Lord Hari, is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill, which is a most enchanting place and a foremost devotee of Lord Hari. Radhakund manifested at midnight on the 8th day of the waning moon in the month of Kartik. By bathing in Radhakund, one becomes a dear devotee of Lord Hari, O Brahmins. Bathing at Radhakund is very pleasing to Lord Hari. It is the duty of everyone to bathe at Radhakund on Bahulashtami and worship Lord Krishna. As Krishna becomes pleased by the observance of Uttana Ekadashi, he is very pleased with a person who bathes at Radhakund on Bahulashtami. So it doesn't say anything about midnight, it just says on the day itself, any time on the day. So what do we do? Good question. As we say, with great caution at our stage, we can't really bathe in Radhakund in one sense. If we're approaching with awe and reverence, what else do we do? We can't approach in any other way. If we approach whimsically, that won't work. If we approach imitating the mood of the gopis, that's certainly not going to work. So what choice do we have? You have to think about that. Radhakund is within Vraj. This is, what does it mean to live on the banks? So let's first take a look at what Prabhupada, or rather Bhaktisiddhanta, had to say about Brajvas, living in Braj. He said, we cannot attain Brajvas without the mercy of the Brajbasis. That means we can't attain the place of residence or living in Braj without the mercy of the Brajbasis. But why should they speak to us? How will we see them with material eyes? Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj speaking. Because we are covered with pride and envy. They will not listen to what we say. Because we have no attachment for them, they do not speak to us. Why would the Brajbasis engage in eternal spiritual pastimes speak to us? Brajbasis are not necessarily just people who happen to be living in this area. They're the eternal associates of the Lord. Those who are living in this area, they should also be respected, and they may be great devotees following in the wake of those Brajbasis, but they're not the actual Brajbasis mentioned here. Why would the Brajbasis engage in the eternal spiritual pastime speak to us? They say, you are searching for material pleasure. Has Krishna become a material object for your pleasure? One cannot know about Braj except through the subservience to Sri Rupa Manjari and Sri Rati Manjari. That's Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. When we receive the mercy of Prabhu Nityananda, on that day we will understand the mercy of Sri Rupa Manjari and Sri Rati Manjari. It's the mercy of Nityananda. To be a Brajbasi. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that in actuality carried out by the three modes of nature. And a lecture by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj on the same day. Only the most fortunate live with pure hearts in the most sanctified place, Sri Radhakund, and worship Krishna 24 hours a day. Sri Radhakund is the highest section of Goloka, the most confidential place in the spiritual sky, and the only shelter for devotees on the platform of Madhurya Ras. The point is that one must forsake materialistic conceptions. It's like Narottam Das Thakur sings, isn't he? That beautiful song, Gaurango Bolite Habe. Ishaya Chariya Kabe Shuddha Habimon Kabe Hama Hero Shri Vrindavan. What does he say? You must have heard it before. I don't know much. That's one of the few things I often quote. One has to be completely freed of all material desires if we want to enter into Vrindavan. So what the speaker Radhakund? After attaining the point is that one must forsake materialistic conceptions. After attaining the aprakrita body, is non-material, body of the gopis, aprakrita living entities, those who are not on the material platform, render aprakrit service, transcendental service, to aprakrita Sri Radha in aprakrit Braj. They're all transcendental. They're not within the realm of this material world. As the aprakrit maidservants of Sri Radha in the transcendental groves on the banks of aprakrit Radhakund, beyond their conception. It is very clear from all this that we are talking not so much about just physical residence on the banks of Radhakund. We are talking about a very high level of consciousness and state of heart. In fact, Srila Prabhupada tells us Vrindavan is revealed in the heart of the sincere devotee. In reality, it is not on any map. nor is it in any part of any country. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, in this connection, that Radhakund is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, the Sakhis and confidential serving maids, the Manjaris of Srimati Radharani. Living entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Goloka Vrindavan, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, Siddhadeas should live at Radhakund, take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha, and under their direction engage constantly in her service. I have a question. How many times did Srila Prabhupada go to Radhakund with his disciples? Maybe once. I think he went in 1970 or something like that. But not otherwise. And he didn't take bath there. How many times did he ask his disciples to live at Radhakund? There was one devotee who went there to live at Radhakund. Prabhupada was not at all happy. Anyway, I don't want to pursue it, but we should be careful. It is also recommended one should live on the banks of Radhakund and should be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. If one is thus constantly engaged during his lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back home, constantly engaged. He will return back home to serve Radha in the same way as he contemplated during his life on the banks of Radhakund. Got to be careful what you contemplate when you're at Radhakund. The conclusion is that to live on the banks of Radhakund and to bathe there daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. And Rupa Goswami says, who then will not reside at Radhakund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional service, aprakrita bhava, render loving service to the divine couple Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakaliya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. So who will not do that? Who will do it? Who has got that spiritual body to do it? At least it's not manifested right now. It's not. We sometimes take the first part of the statement and don't take the second part into account. Everyone should reside on Radhakund and in the spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings. A little bit different, isn't it? This clearly indicates one not only knows his Swarup, but has entered Sri Sri Radha Govinda's pastimes before Nitya Seva. It's not even just knowing one's Swarup, but it's actually being engaged in that Swarup. Clearly we're talking spiritual residence, not just physical residence at Radhakund. One may also be physically residing on the banks of Radhakund, but the core essence is one's qualification to live spiritually. Because we commit offenses there, we have some material conception, it can be greatly to our detriment spiritually. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has explained previously, we are talking of aprakrita service to aprakrita Sri Radha in aprakrita Vraj as the aprakrita maidservants of Sri Radha in the transcendental groves on the bank of aprakrita Radhakund. Inder used to quote this from time to time. It's not a cheap thing. We just can go there with our gumshaw and jump in. What does it mean to take shelter and serve under the direction of the confidential maid servants of Sri Radha? Deep topic. Just a touch. It's their mood. If we want entrance into the realm of Radharani's shelter and service, we need to imbibe the mood and cherish it as our own. Only by the mercy of Srila Bhaktivinoda can this question be answered. So here's a bhajan from his Siddha Lalasa Gita Mala to gain some insight. It's a song which he sang. I don't know how to sing. For serving the lotus feet of the charming daughter of King Vrishabhanu, I will become a sheltered maidservant of her maidservant. Indeed, I will live only for the happiness of Sri Radha, and I will always endeavor to increase her joy. I will understand within my heart that Krishna feels happiness only when Radha is happy. Therefore, I will never ever covet being with Krishna myself, thereby abandoning Radhika's lotus feet. All my associate Sakhis are my supreme well-wishers. They are my best friends. and they are the teachers of my lessons in conjugal love. By following them loyally, I will serve the lotus feet of Radha, which are just like desire-fulfilling trees. I am forever given to remaining in the group devoted to Sri Radhika. I will never even look upon those persons who have abandoned her entourage, whoever they may be, and whatever mood they entertain. Very internal. Very internal. So here's from Srila Prabhupada, so do we not get too kind of like, whoo, forget it. This is a lecture he gave in Mayapur in 1975. Be serious, don't be misled by the allurement of Maya. Remain strong, and then in this life you'll be able to become fit candidate to go back home, back to Godhead. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadumadam. You'll also be one of the associates of Krishna as you desire. Krishna will give you the opportunity to serve him as you desire. If you want to serve him as a gopi, you'll get that position. If you want to serve him as coward boyfriends, you'll get that opportunity. If you want to serve Krishna following the footsteps of Mother Yasoda, accepting Krishna as your son, you'll get it. Accepting Krishna as your son, Nanda Maharaj following, we have to follow their principle, not that I shall become Nanda Maharaj or I shall become Yasoda. No, I shall know. That is Mayavad philosophy. You have to follow how they are loving Krishna. You have to learn that. Then you'll get the chance of Krishna's association. Because that means when we come to this platform of Raganuga Bhakti, which we're not on, we're aspiring for it. We've got to go through the stages of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Gopis, they are not conditioned souls, they are liberated spirits. So first of all, you have to come out of this conditional life. Then the question of serving Gopi will come. Don't be at the present moment very eager to serve Gopi. Just try to get out of your conditional life. Then time will come when you'll be able to serve Gopi. In this conditional stage, we cannot serve anything. But Krishna gives us opportunity. Gopis mean who are always constantly engaged in service of Lord. So that eternal relationship will be revealed. So we have to wait for that. Immediately we cannot imitate serving Gopis. That's a good idea that you shall serve Gopi, but it will take time, not immediately. Nityananda Prabhu does not directly instruct in the confidential service of Krishna. Srimati Radhika is the guru of the inner circle of the servants of Krishna. Srimati, however, accepts the offer of service of only those souls who are especially favored by Nityananda and are deemed by him to be fit for her service. There is therefore a most intimate relationship between the function of Nityananda and that of Srimati. But Nityananda is also there, being the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. Nityananda is an Angamanjari in Madhurya Ras. So they're constantly closely associated also, even in the inner circle. And the last one, what does it mean to serve Radha Kund? Srila Prabhupada tells us at the end of his text, Nectar of Instruction, by serving Radha Kund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the Gopis. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami gives some insight into this statement of his Radha Kund Ashtaka. The mercy obtained by serving Radha Kund makes the celestial vine of pure love for the Prince of Raj sprout. Such love is famous for bearing the flower of service to my Queen. May that very fragrant Radha Kund be my shelter. Without a doubt, the most renowned of Sri Radha Kund's servants was Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. He not only excavated both Radha Kund and Shama Kund to make them more accessible to we fallen souls, he also gave the most perfect example of Srila Rupa Goswami's teachings in Upadeshamrita, especially text 8 to 11. And this is how he spent his time with Chaitanya Charitamrita. As a daily duty, this is Raghunath Das, his daily duty, he regularly offered how many obeisances to the Lord? 2 or 3? I don't know how many we did. How many offers a day? Obeisances to the Lord? 1,000. chanted at least 100,000 holy names, offered obeisances to how many Vaishnavas? At least 2,000 a day. And day and night he rendered service within his mind to Radha Krishna. For 3 hours a day he discoursed about the character of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami took 3 baths daily in Radhakund Lake. As soon as he found a Vaishnava residing in Vrindavan, he would embrace him and give him all respect. He engaged himself in devotional service for more than 22.5 hours a day, and for less than 2 hours he slept, although on some days that also was not possible. Raghunath Das' mood was one of intense separation, not only from Radharani and her service, but also from her dear mentors and associates who left this material world before him. O Queen, please rescue this unfortunate person drowning in an ocean of pain. Place him on the strong boat of your mercy and carry him to the wonderful realm of your lotus feet. O Queen, with the medicine of the red lac from your lotus feet, please bring back to life this person now dead from the bite of the black snake called separation from you. When will I serve Sri Radha, who is dearer to Lord Krishna than his own life, who considers the dust of Lord Krishna's feet millions of times more dear than her own life, who is supremely fortunate, whose fame shines in the 3 worlds, and who is the jewel crown of Lord Krishna's gopi beloveds? When will I serve Sri Radha? I'm not sure what this is, but I'll read it. He was my life and soul. Again and again he kindly splashed me with the fragrant waters of shoreless oceans of limitless love. Now misfortune forces me to become swallowed by the forest fire of material calamity. I have no shelter except for him of whom I can take shelter. This is Raghunath Das Goswami. Now that I no longer have the sustainer of my life, the land of Braj has become empty and desolate. Govardhan Hill has become like a great python, and Radhakund has become like the gaping mouth of a ferocious tiger. So this is Raghunath Das talking after the departure of Rupa Goswami. He's feeling it. There's nothing there anymore. It's the mercy of the Vaishnava that gives us the opportunity to approach Radhakund, whatever stage we're on, and to render service. And the Manasiksha, instructions to the mind, Raghunath Das says, O mind, I grasp your feet and beg you with sweet words, please cast away all hypocrisy and pride and develop intense, unprecedented love for my spiritual master, Brajabhumi, the people of Braj, the Vaishnavas, the Brahmins, the Gayatri Mantra, the holy name and the transcendental shelter that is the fresh young couple of Braj, Radha and Krishna. So that he will mercifully smash my wickedness, even though I am a great rascal. So that he will give me the splendid nectar of transcendental love, and so that he will engage me in Radha's service. Please, O mind, with words choked with emotion, worship Lord Giridhari in Braj. O mind, please worship Lord Hari's beloved Lord Hari's beloved Radha. With the splendor of her beauty, she makes Rati, Gauri and Leela burn with envy. With the power of her good fortune, she defeats Shachi, Lakshmi and Satyabhama. And with her ability to control Krishna, she completely eclipses Chandravali and the other pious young girls. O mind, in order to attain the direct service of the 2 divine lovers, Shri Radha Giridhari, in the company of their friends, every day you must constantly drink with Sri Rupa Goswami the 5 nectars of worshipping them, chanting their names, meditating on them, hearing about them and bowing down before them, and every day you must worship Govardhan Hill. So it's not the platform we're quite on yet. And we'll finish off here, Srila Prabhupada, a glimpse from the Prabhupada Lilamrita. The banks of Radhakund were overhung with bright green foliage, growing from the gnarled branches of ancient tamarind, tamal, and neem trees. In the shallows of the water, cranes stood on stilt-like legs, while river terns skimmed across the lake, sometimes abruptly diving for fish. Sometimes a tortoise would poke its nose up from the water's depths, or a fish would jump, Green parrots, usually in pairs, flew in and out of the green trees, and sparrows chirped and hopped from place to place. Peacocks were also there, mostly in nearby gardens, as were occasional rabbits and even deer. Already on this visit, Abai had had occasion, this is 1932 I think, and Prabhupada had gone to Vrindavan to be with his Guru Maharaj, who was at that time conducting some parikrama. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, already on this visit, Abai had had occasion to be alone with his spiritual master, who had remembered Abai's son and presented him with a small Bandi jacket. And now as they walked together alone on the banks of Radhakund, now this is the later time, this would be probably about 36 I think, last time, or maybe 35. As they walked together alone on the bank of Radhakund, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta turned and spoke confidentially to Abai. He said there had been some quarrelling amongst his leading disciples in Calcutta, and this distressed him very much. Even now in Vrindavan, it weighed heavily on his mind. Abai felt his spiritual master speaking to him in urgency, as if asking him to help or warning him to avert a disaster. But what could he do? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta then said directly to Abai, Amma richa chilla kitu bai karana. I had a desire to print some books. If you ever get money, print books. Standing by Radhakund and beholding his spiritual master, Abai felt the words deeply enter his own life. If ever you get money, print books. And it's ironic that that instruction was given on the banks of Radhakund. Could have been anywhere, but it was on the banks of Radhakund. So one can understand the intimacy and the depth of distributing this knowledge on behalf of Srila Prabhupada to others, and to obtain the mercy of Lord Nityananda, so we can actually enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Otherwise we're still like spectators still. We're not seeing the right picture. We're seeing something. But by rendering practical service under the acharyas, especially this point of distributing this transcendental knowledge to others, be they who they may, family members, children, public, devotees, whoever it is, but distributing this knowledge to others, which is contained in these transcendental literatures, then one attains the mercy of Nityananda. So I don't know how many books have been distributed. I do have the figure somewhere. It's about 600 million books. BBT books have been distributed since day one, at least. I'm sure many have not been recorded. Which in one sense, that's in how many years now since beginning days? Because BBT never really came out till 1970, so let's take 1970, that's 50 years. Huh? 50 years, exactly 50 years. So about 10 million books a year, on average. I don't know what it was last year, and that would work out an average of 10 million books a year. So I don't know how accurate it is, but that's the figure it would be. And how many millions of people have gained that mercy of Vrindavan, the mercy emanating from Radhakund, the compassion of Radharani on all living entities, so that we can actually, by following the proper train of service, enter into Radhakund. Hare Krishna. Okay, finished there. Jai. A lot of reading today, special day. Are you ready to go? It was last night, wasn't it? They all went last night, right? The buses went to Radhakund last night for a midnight dive into Radhakund. Hare Krishna. Any comments?
Very powerful.
Heavy, huh? Very heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah. Not something you're going to speak about necessarily in a public forum. It's something which, is rather intimate and amongst disciples or amongst those should be given instruction, because it becomes almost, it can become a cheap thing. Being in Vrindavan sometimes it can become very cheap. And then the next thing is the river Yamuna. Now the opposite is there. Devotees think it's a dirty sewer. Many devotees have said that, which is a totally mundane perspective. Complete mundane perspective. It's kind of the opposite. Thinking, you know, I can bathe in Radha Kund, but not in the Jamuna.
Tomorrow are you going down to Yamuna?
Pardon?
Tomorrow are you going down to Yamuna?
Let's see how we feel, see what happens. I'm not going to promise anything or commit, but maybe. Let's see. There won't be program tomorrow because Asikananda Prabhu's parents are in Gujarat. He's going to see his parents tomorrow, and Mohan Rupa's going to accompany him at least to Mathura, so we won't be having program tomorrow night. But I guess Thursday. I can't think at this point. Yeah, Thursday. Thursday Ekadashi, isn't it? Is that right? Thursday Ekadashi? Yeah. So Thursday we have program. Let the others know if you wish. Quite a few devotees who don't normally come didn't come tonight. Maybe other things going on or late notice, I don't know. But they didn't come. Those who were meant to come came. It's always Krishna guiding in the heart. So Mahanidi Maharaj, even Mahanidi Maharaj, who is well known for residing in Radhakund and taking baths in Radhakund, his instruction to all devotees is you must take the permission from your guru before you enter into Radhakund. That was his instruction. I don't know if it's any different now, but that was his instruction before. Any comments?
Prabhupada's spiritual master, he asked him to distribute books to spread books by Radhakund.
Yeah, on walking by Radhakund.
Powerful plays, and was it next year, not just Radhakund, but the power of Prabhupada also, that's why 600 million books.
Well, everything comes from the mercy of Radharani. It comes through mercy of Radharani, through those who are actually associates. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj is an eternal associate of Srimati Radhika. He's, who is he in the spiritual realm? It slipped my mind. Bhaktivinoda is Kamala Manjari, and he is, slipped my mind. Can't remember, but he's also Manjari. So that mercy comes from them, and they are, when they take their sadhaka forms or their manifested forms in this world, then they give instructions to those in this world so that we can attain that spiritual form. It doesn't happen just by going there with this lump of blood and flesh and bones. It's when the heart is purified. So they give us instructions to help us to have at least a chance to come to the spiritual platform by engaging in devotional services of various kinds, all meant to spread the actual glories of Radhakund, ultimately, which may manifest in different ways on different planes, but ultimately the mercy is coming from Radharani. Chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping deity, looking after cows, whatever service we're doing, the mercy of Radha. Oh, and that's also the mercy of Radha. The lights have now gone out, so it's time for Damodarastakam.
There was a recent ruling that on Radhastami we cannot even see Radharani's foot now.
You can't see it?
Apparently Radharani's foot only by pujaris now.
Is it?
Has to be covered.
Better become a pujari then.
So
the law. Anyone who's caught, what's the punishment for one who sees, unless you're a pujari, who sees Radharani's foot? What's the punishment?
I try to think.
Maybe she'll give you a good kick. Be mercy, huh? Radharani is full of compassion. Is that a GBC regulation? Is there? Well, it was the standard during Prabhupada's time. That's all I can say. I don't know whether, I'm not a pujari, really, and I never was very much kind of involved in these things, but I always remember it was the standard we would never show Radharani's feet. Now you see paintings everywhere with Radharani's feet exposed. And I don't know what Prabhupada would say, but all I know is that we would never show them during his time. I don't know about the paintings, whether there's paintings showing his feet during Prabhupada's time. Prabhupada commented not, I don't know. But whatever the GBC, they've researched it. It's not the GBC who've researched it, it's the Shastric Advisory Council, SAC, who senior devotees, philosophical and scholarly devotees have been researching various controversial topics for years. So they come up with papers now and again, and that was one of them, on the showing of Radharani's lotus feet, which became a little controversial in some places. And then they were showing on Akshaya Tritiya, and some were showing on Radhastami, and different times, and showing the lotus feet of Radharani. It's quoting something or another, but I don't know. I don't think there's any Shastric quote to substantiate those claims. There were quotes, maybe local folklore or something, I don't know, but I've never seen any Shastric statements to support it. And of course you may not see any Shastric claims not to support it, so it's really up to the Acharya. So definitely Srila Prabhupada has said that the Radharani's lotus feet should not be shown. We wouldn't even show her shoes, so to speak, of her lotus feet. They were always kept under her dress. But I see that quite often they're not now. I don't know, I'm not going to say anything. It's not my department. Let those who are in that department deal with it. I mean, if someone asked me, I would advise them to follow the system as it was during Prabhupada's time, but I'm not an authority. You can read the GBC resolution, I suppose it's quite clear. And many things like that. The other one that they did was the bathing abhishek of the deities. So it's it's quite strict on who should do abhishek, even on Janmashtami and other days. I don't know how much of this is being implemented in ISKCON. A lot of the time the GBC's decisions aren't never implicated anyway. Just like in Kirtan, They don't implicate, even though there are GBC resolutions on Kirtan, most of them are not being implicated. Some of them are regarding Radharani. The Srimati Radharani's holy name should never be chanted separately from Krishna's name. But still devotees chant Radhi, 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 Radhi sometimes. Or songs, I don't know, there's a funny song, what's it called? And that, oh Radharani, please introduce me to your Krishna. How does that go? Shama Malade, I don't know how it goes. And even gurus and sannyasis have been heard singing it. Completely against our Sampradayas mood. So it's like, because everyone in Vrindavan sings it, you kind of get caught up in it, That doesn't mean it's good for us. Radharani is, very service of Radharani is there for all of us, that's our aspiration, but the direct service of, the confidential service is very, very special. I mean, Radharani is Krishna's, prize, if you want, the most valuable property, whatever you want to call it. You don't generally, and it's not ours, it's Krishna's, go around. You saw what happened to what's his name? The brother of Satyajit? Prasanna, I think his name is Prasanna. He took the Shamantakar jewel and he got killed. He was going around showing, here's my brother's jewel, and then he got killed for it. And Satyajit also eventually got killed for it too. It really belongs to Krishna. Radharani belongs to Krishna. So it's not a cheap thing that we throw around as if it's like, water or something. A very confidential jewel. So Radharani appears again as Radhakund, as we just heard. Access to Radhakund appears in the form of Nityananda's mercy, which means following the spiritual master's practical instructions. And Radharani has appeared very mercifully in this day and age, always appeared in this form as the Mahamantra. Hare is Radharani. So this is the form she's accessible to. Although we don't describe this to people, obviously, but they don't have a clue what this is. Somebody's name, his name's Hari Rama. Your God's name's Hari Rama, right? We have Harry Potter and you've got Hari Rama. Or whatever it is. They don't have a clue, but still Radharani is there, showering her mercy on whoever chants those names. But she's not happy if you don't chant the name of Krishna. You've got to have both, otherwise you're separating the divine couple. They don't like to be separated. Together, Hare Krishna, Radha Govinda, Radha Shamasundara, whatever. Radha, what's your lady's name?
Radha Shamsundara.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Radha Shamasundara. And in France we have Radha Paraseshwar. In Ireland they have Radha Govinda. In New Mayapur we have Radha Govinda Madhava. In Melbourne they have Radha Ballava. New Govardhan they have Radha Govardhan Dari. In Sydney they have Radha Gopinath. In Auckland they have Radha Giridhari Radha. In Adelaide they have Radha Shamasundar Radha Shamasundar Radha. In Penang they have Radha Krishna Kanaya Radha Krishna Kanaya Radha. In Philippines they have Jaya Radha Madhava Radha, as they do in Mayapur, and we have Shamsundar here. In Delhi they have Radha Parthasarathi Radha Parthasarathi. In Hyderabad, yeah, Jai, you're from there, from Hyderabad. Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan. Don't say Radhe. It's okay, you can say Radhe at the end there. But not singing like separately together. In every temple in Bombay they have several Radha Krishnas, don't they? In Chowpatty they have Radha Gopinath, and in Juhu Radha Rasadi Hari Radha Rasadi Hari Radha. And Radha Giridhari in Mira Road, and hundreds of other temples, thousands of temples in India. Thousands with Radha Krishna deities. Where's that? And in the village. And in England we have Radha Gokulananda, Radha and Radha Landeshwara. Everywhere different names of their beautiful deities. All over the world there's always Radha Krishna. We don't worship Krishna alone, we don't worship Radha alone. Together. I was hearing a funny story this afternoon. I was talking to one but I'd forgotten his name, he's from LA. And he told the story that if you go into Prabhupada's rooms in Los Angeles, he has his rooms there, of course, there's a single deity of Krishna stood in his room. The deity is never worshipped, just cleaned. That deity was very interesting. The story told there was a time in the 80s when some brahmacharis from Los Angeles, the 70s, this was in the 70s, must have been 74, something like that. There was a great yogi named Paramahamsa Yogananda, maybe you've heard his name, Paramahamsa Yogananda. Books are still around. He was quite he was a proponent of Kriya Yoga. He also talked about bhakti and worship of Krishna and so on. So somehow many of the devotees came from his contacts, following his path of self-realization. And many of them became devotees in ISKCON. And they knew many of the people in that movement. So they made an arrangement that about 10 devotees from Prabhupada disciples stayed for like a week in their ashram, and 10 of them stayed in ISKCON for a week. Some obviously friends of some in the past. They made this arrangement. So the devotees who stayed in his ashram, in Paramahamsa's ashram, and they got everyone to get up in the morning, attend Mangalarti, chant japa, sing Hare Krishna and so on. Well, they were singing Hare Krishna already, but they got them to do basically the ISKCON program. I guess that brought more of them to ISKCON as well. And the ones who stayed at the ISKCON camp, they also went through the ISKCON program. But before the devotees left Paramahamsa's ashram, they were in his room. I mean, he wasn't there, I think he'd already passed away, but they went into his room and they saw this beautiful deity, big deity of Krishna sitting on his table. There was no one around. One of them, the big chudder, kind of slipped the deity under his chudder and kind of like... Somehow they walked out, got in the car and drove off with this big deity of Krishna, and came to Prabhupada with this deity, a white deity of Krishna. And for Prabhupada, pranams and asked where it's from. And then they told him, oh, you have saved Krishna from that nasty place, he said. You have saved him from that nasty place. And they said, no, take him down to the art department, down to the, what do they call it, the diorama, where the dioramas were, where the devotees were artistic, you know, and then have them repaint the deities blackish blue, you know, put different features on the deity, so that when they come looking for that deity, they won't notice him. I think it's not him. So they did, they painted the deity, and to this day he's still sitting there in Prabhupada's room. For mundane eyes you can't tell. So if anyone wants to stay, we're going to have Damodarastakam now, and if you want to go to the temple, you're welcome. Or both, whichever you like.
How to serve the Lord in the mood of gopis?
How to serve the Lord in the mood of the gopis? Don't ask me. You have to become qualified. By serving, the interesting thing is, the nectar instruction says, you should reside in Vrindavan, and there, under the direction of a pure devotee of the Lord, or an eternal resident of Vrindavan, or in the material world, you could say we're serving them by serving our acharyas, because they are residents of Vrindavan. They are intimate associates of Radharani. So that's how you serve them. Just like Bhaktisiddhanta gave that instruction to all of his disciples, not all, but to several of his leading disciples, to print and distribute books and to go all over the world. But Prabhupada took it up. So he gave that instruction. We should share with us. That's how we serve the gopis in Vrindavan, by distributing Krishna consciousness all over the world. That's our business. I was reading the other day, Prabhupada was saying that the best way to conquer the mind is to always be thinking how I can spread Krishna consciousness. Always planning. Not some, technique, or, trying to hammer the holy name into one's brains or something. Going on some austere vrata. Prabhupada didn't say that. He said the best way is to engage the mind always in thinking how to spread Krishna consciousness. He wasn't into much all these complicated presentations of how to chant. I mean, his answer was, Srila Prabhupada, what do we do in our mind, with our mind when we're chanting japa? Here's a common kind of situation. I said, where does the mind come into it? Simply chant and hear, that's all. That was his answer. It's like, it comes when it comes, you could say. There's a beautiful lecture of Prabhupada in New Vrindavan, and we were talking about Tribhuvanath Prabhu the other day. You were not here. We had a program here in this room. That day quite a few devotees came, and we were discussing Tribhuvanath Prabhu. It was his disappearance day, maybe 5 days ago or something. 16th, I think it was. And I didn't mention it, but I remember the first anniversary of his disappearance. I was here in Vrindavan, and it was in Ekadashi that year, because he goes by the Western calendar. At least that day is Western calendar. So the Vedic calendar that year was Ekadashi. So on Ekadashi here, as you know, they play Prabhupada lecture. So that lecture was a lecture sometime in the 70s in New Vrindavan, and Prabhupada was lecturing on Krishna and distributing Krishna consciousness. And I thought it was so appropriate, because Prabhupada said in that lecture, the prime sign of love of God, the prime sign that one has love of God, he said it 3 times, that means the topmost sign, is that one wants to spread the Lord's holy name all over the world. Prabhupada said it 3 times. He said that's the prime symptom or the prime sign of love of God, is you want to see the holy name spread all over the world. Now he's talking to us, so we're not, obviously we can only understand things in practical aspects. So I thought it was very significant, because we all heard the other day how Tribhuvanath Prabhu's life was to give the holy name to all living entities, no matter who they were. He didn't discriminate. He gave the holy name to everyone. not just giving it, he got them to take it, to chant and dance along. So he was definitely a person eligible, or let's say performing activities to become eligible to enter into Radhakund. That's the secret. Following the wake of Srila Prabhupada's instruction to distribute this transcendental knowledge all over the world. Hare Krishna. Hare Paul. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. There is Nityananda. No longer Apple Mac. Nitai Mac. Nitai Mac. The new brand of computers called Nitai Mac. Nitai Mac.
Garangatosh.
Huh?
Garangatosh.
Garangatosh? Macintosh. So who's going to lead tonight? Who's going to lead the Damodar Ashtak? Nitai. Who led the other day? One of you.